My name is Rayne Stroebel, and I'm that guy from somewhere else. It was very funny yesterday in the workshop. A lady said, well, you know, that man who talked now from somewhere else, and it's Sue Ellen's sister from Canada, and I am going to take that on as a compliment and as really explaining who I am. I've always been the man from somewhere else. In my own country, I'm a bit of an alien and often feel that I've fallen out of a tree and landed on my head. And my pictures are going to show within 1 second. My only claim to fame, all the singing, one of Beatles last night, my only claim to fame is that I grew up in a traditional old age home in South Africa. My mother was what was called the matron. I don't think you have those anymore in this country. And the day that she retired, I said, please God, I don't ever want to set foot in an old age home again. Well, that was 18 years ago. I opened my eyes and I was back in it again. Today I want to share a little bit of the spirit. No, that's the wrong one. Sorry. I want to share a little bit about the African spirit. I'm an African. I was born and raised in South Africa. I'm not particularly proud of the politics or the history of my country, but I am incredibly proud of what we have achieved in spite of that. South Africa is known as the Rainbow Nation. It's the country of Madiba, of Desmond Tutu. And it is a company that has overcome itself to a large extent and its horrible history. It's a country of 11 different official languages, 55 million people. It's a country that is diverse, and we celebrate the diversity, but it is also a country that is immensely complex as a result of not only our history, but also our diversity and our rainbow nation. A lot of people have asked me why we use the baobab tree as our symbol, our logo. Now, there's a wonderful legend in the African history that the Creator planted this tree next to a lake. And the tree looked down at the lake and said, oh, no, you know, I'm fat. Well, yeah, right. I'm fat and I'm ugly. And the tree looked across the plains and saw the beautiful palm tree, the tall, slender palm tree, and said, you know, why don't I look like a palm tree? It saw the beautiful coral tree with its bright orange flowers and said, you know, why don't I look like that? You know, my flowers are really dull. And this whinging and whining went on and on and on. And eventually the Creator said, well, thank you very much, that's enough. And she came and she grabbed the tree right out of the ground and planted it again upside down. Say, you take that. And that's why you can see it's upside down. It's got its roots up in the air. And to me, that is the magic of the Eden alternative. That's exactly what Bill and Jude came and did and said, stop this whinging and whining. They pulled it right out of the ground and they turned long-term care upside down on its head. But this is a remarkable tree. And to me, it symbolizes everything about this elder verse that we're living in. I love that word, thank you. This is an elder verse, and this symbolizes everything about elderhood for me. This tree can grow up to 3,000 years old. This tree can grow up to 98 feet tall. There's a tree in South Africa that has a diameter of 112 feet. This tree in its trunks, because it grows in a very dry part of South Africa, can store 120,000 liters of water. But not only that, there is not a single part of this tree that is not being used. The bark is used to make glue, to make rubber, to make soap. The inside, the soft inside, in my language is called krummetart. And krummetart is a wonderful substance that I've grown up with that would thicken your jellies and thicken your jams and used in all sorts of food. It's an incredible high source of nutrients. So the locals live off this tree in all its essence. The root is used to make nets for fishing and ropes for tying cargo to the back of a bicycle. I'm sure you've all seen the pictures. But more than that, this tree is the center of the African village. This tree gives shade. And if you want to solve a problem in South Africa, you go and sit under a tree. And you come close to the earth and feel the connectedness with the sacredness of the human spirit. It is said that knowledge is like this baobab tree, and that one person's arms cannot encompass it. We are all in this together. This is not just a job for one person. And if we really, really start looking at this upside-down tree, and those of you who know the Jungian psychology, where Jung said Africa actually symbolizes the shadow, the dark side of the human psyche. It is only to the extent that we are prepared to face that. Please, all of you, come to South Africa for our festival in October. You will never be the same again. Once you've set foot on African soil, you are actually brave enough to face your own shadow. And the shadow is not a bad thing. It is that dark thread in the tapestry that brings out the color, that emphasizes the beauty of the human spirit. In our country, we have a concept called Ubuntu. And those of you who have heard Desmond Tutu speak, Dr. Al Power quoted him in his book, and our own Nelson Mandela, will know that this really encapsulates the African spirit. And I said to Sarah, last night I realized, Sarah, your story is about Ubuntu. And Carol told me when her and Jim traveled through South Africa, their car's radiator burnt out. And they got near to this village in the middle of nowhere and realized that they are going to have to ask for the most precious thing on the African continent, water. And how do you drive through Africa in your fancy 4x4 with loads of food and loads of everything, and then go to a local and ask, please give me some water? And Carol says they were still walking towards the village when the people came out and said, here is water for you. Ubuntu is about that humanity to others. But it's not just about giving, it's about knowing, really truly understanding the deep-seated sacredness of our connectedness. in that I am what I am because of who we all are. Our connectedness is what is making us great. Our being there for one another, understanding that we are all on our way there, that this journey is a collective journey, is encapsulated in the word Ubuntu. Tom Kitwood talks about that status that people give one another. It is a transactional entity, a transactional being with one another. That we give each other the status of whatever the status is. And so often that status is breaking down and not building up. I want to tell you a story about this wonderful, wonderful woman who is at the moment actually in Australia visiting as a guest of the Dominican nuns in Australia. Sister Lucia. Sister Lucia comes from a part of our country that is called Lesotho. Oh, there we go. Lesotho in the middle there somewhere. You'll see it. Tiny little country. Now, it's very interesting that people think, well, all black people in South Africa are the same. Our different ethnic groups speak different languages. They come from different cultures. They are distinct, different groups of people. And the Catholic Church thought it good to send Sister Lucia from Lesotho to KwaZulu-Natal to go and work in a home for elders way up north in Natal. Now, she arrived there not understanding a word of the language, not understanding the culture at all, 32 years old, and all of a sudden, she's in charge of this home. She came across the Eden Alternative. Paul and June and I went to visit there, and she is an absolute enthusiast. But she had one problem. Her residents, the elders of the home, every year at a certain time said, we have to go home. And Lucia said, but, you know, you are home. This is your home. Look what I've done for you. Wonderful place. No, we want to go home. And she said, but I'm sorry, it's not possible. I cannot possibly send you home. You have to go on the back of a truck. There hardly is any transport. The roads are treacherous, asked Paul and June. I can't send you home. And then when you do get home, home is a grass hut with a grass reed mat on the floor. I cannot possibly do that. And the elders became very, very unsettled and withdraw inwards more and more. And she tried everything in her power. And then they actually went to sit under this tree. And this is where she told us the story when we sat under the tree. She said that she had to really try and understand that human spirit. Now, she's a Catholic nun, but she's also from the Sesotho culture. And the elders said to her, you know, you don't understand. You just do not understand that we have a sacred connectedness. And that connectedness is to our ancestors who take care of us. And we don't pray to them. They're not our gods. We're Catholic. We go to Mass 3 times a day. But that is the diversity, the complexity. And, you know, if we don't go home when the family slaughters the goat, then our ancestors are not invoked. You know, they're really lazy. And it's at the first scream or bleat of this goat that the ancestors wake up, and then they know where we are. And they will take care of us. So Sister Lucia thought, my goodness, not only is she going to have the Human Rights Commission, the animal prevention of animal cruelty. How on earth? She's got to send them all home. But being the wise woman that she is, she said the next morning, let's go back and sit under the tree. And she said, what if we bring a goat here and we slaughter the goat? And the elders said, yes, we can do that. And they did. And they slaughtered the goat, and all of a sudden, it became home. And to me, that story symbolizes so much of the work that we do. It's not about the curtains. This home has not had running water for about 2 years. I'll show you pictures in my other presentation. They have nothing, but they have connected with the sacredness of the human spirit, and it became home. Thank you for making home.